All right, I want to teach you guys how to finish your rings now that they're cast. So the first process is filing, and that's probably going to take maybe the most time to kind of get your rings set up. So ideally, you did a really good job finishing your ring in wax, so it helps speed this process up. Everybody is going to have like a little extra chunk of wax on the ring. This one has 2, this one has 1. And it just depends kind of the size of your ring and what I felt was best for it to cast. So those were like, it was like a pathway for the metal to flow into your ring to fill it up. So for bigger ones, I tend to do 2, or something that's maybe a little complicated, I tend to do 2 extra little wax wires added to it. So that's what we have to get rid of first. We don't want that to be a visual blemish on your ring. It was just a functionality of casting. So because they're kind of bigger pieces to remove, you want to maybe be using a bigger file because it'll just get the job done quicker. So I normally hold on to my ring with one finger inside just for stability. And remember that it's always on the push. Like, you don't drag your file back. That's actually how you dull the teeth on the file. And you also have to use a little bit of force pressing down. You should be making like a little collection of metal shavings on your table. I've had a student in the past say that it took 3 days for them to file these down. It should not take 3 days. It should maybe take 5 minutes, but not 3 days worth. So if you feel like you're using the file and you're just not making any progress, nothing's going on, or it's taking a ridiculously slow or long amount of time, touch base with somebody else or with myself, and just see if maybe there's something that we can adjust to help you out. So sometimes it's the type of file you're using. There are files that are coarser and some that are finer. So sometimes if you touch the file and you feel it, if it feels a little rough, that's going to take away more material. If you touch it and it feels really smooth, that's going to take just a little bit of material away. Sometimes it's, oh, you're not using enough pressure. Maybe you're dragging instead of pushing. So there's sometimes just quick little check-ins we can do to help speed up the process. But the idea is it shouldn't take that long to get that little nubbin to go away. And just in this time frame of you listening to me, that's almost gone already. So you can see it shouldn't take that long. Okay, so that's kind of the first part you want to get rid of, these little extra chunks. And then I want you to address each side of the ring. So you're going to want to file the edge of your ring down and look for consistency. There's sometimes little blemishes that happen through casting, like little pits or little divots, and you just want to try to get rid of those so they're not kind of a visually distracting piece to your ring. Okay, now you're going to want to use a curved file or a round file to file the inside of your ring. And so make sure, again, you're pushing, and I like to do a little twist, so I'm using as much as the file as possible and also covering as much area with one stroke. So I have kids do this. You're going to be here forever. Okay, but if you can do this, that's the equivalent of like 10 of those little wimpy ones, okay, with one stroke. So kind of a push and a twist, and you want to do that all around and also from both openings. Okay, you'll want to match the file to the shape you're also working in. So there's a bunch of different shaped files. This one is really good to like get into like little nooks and crannies. So there's texture on one side and the side is not. So it's only going to carve on the side with the texture for the file. So getting into all these little like nooks and crannies or grooves, get a tool that fits the job. Now if you get some areas where that's really deep and you can't really use a file, we do have our rotary tools and varying shaped grinding stones or grinding bits that we can get you set up, and those work really great in those hard to reach areas. Okay. But most of the work should be done with file. So that's step one of finishing.